You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 82 of Chiro Hustle. I am your co-host Luke Millette, and here's your host Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Richard Avery, and if you guys want to know how to dominate your niche with chiropractic, stay tuned. So Dr. Richard, tell us about your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor.
You know, I don't really know what influenced me to become a chiropractor. You know, I was a peer counselor at university for a number of years, and my last year of university, I was talking to a fellow counselor, asking what she wanted to do. And she said, you know, I'm going to become a chiropractor. It's like, what the hell is a chiropractor? I had no clue what a chiropractor was. And so she told me about it. And it's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. So then I went to a chiropractor I knew. Actually, I didn't know. My girlfriend knew him. And started going. It's like, this is pretty good. Because I always had a kind of a bad back. Then I did some research as to the education and what it's like and, you know, earning potential and all that sort of stuff. I compared physio, massage, chiropractic. I said, you know what? Chiropractic's the way to go. So then it was funny because I said, listen, I'm going to apply to one school. If I don't get in, then I'll do something else. Because my major university was psychology and sociology. And I was going to get into marketing and advertising. And then I got accepted to New York. Bam, went there a few months later. I don't know, here I am as a chiropractor. So that was pretty much my story. Nothing too inspirational, that's for sure. It was just like, you know what, this sounds like a cool profession. If I can avoid drugs, surgery, and help people that way, okay, I'm down with it.
Yeah, you know, I think that's a big answer for a lot of people out there. I tell people this all the time when I'm out working, doing screening events, is people typically want chiropractic, they just don't know where to go or who to trust. And I think that comes from the actual healthcare provider too. A lot of times they don't know what avenue is best for them, and there's not enough, information circulating to influence people to make that choice to become chiropractors.
Yeah, and you know, really what it comes down to as well is that awareness, like I always say, like, the chiropractic message really only resonates with a very, very small percentage of the population. Like, whatever, statistically speaking, it's about 7%. So, you know, there's 93% of the population that really doesn't know anything about chiropractors. And I was a prime example, right? And then I started to learn about it, and it's like, okay, this kind of makes sense. But really, our branding and our marketing, our messaging is kind of way off. And it's a sad state of affairs because chiropractic is such a wonderful discipline that, you know, creates such massive changes, dramatic changes in people's lives, right?
So what would you say makes you unique in the chiropractic world? What are some things you're doing differently that other doctors aren't doing?
In regards to how I practice or what I'm doing presently?
Everything.
You know, listen, and you know, during our pre-show or communication, we talked about, like, you know, if you have the option of being better or being different, always choose different, because being different is better than being better. You know, when I first started out, I was just like every other chiropractor, right? Just like what I call a generalized chiropractic care practitioner. Just treated everybody. My marketing was geared to everybody. And you know what? I just became a commodity clinic where my consults, my patient's decision to undergo my services was purely based on my fees and not on the value of my care. And so I said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of doing this. Now I see about 80 to 100 patients a day, over 3.5 days a week. And, you know, I was doing okay financially. Then, anyways, I wanted to change up. First of all, I didn't want to deal with this high volume anymore, or what I thought was high volume. There's guys that are doing a lot more than that. So I focused on a niche. I said, screw this. I'm going to become the authority in my community. I'm going to focus on chronic severe back pain. I'm going to become the go-to chiropractor where people will come from miles away to see me. And so I started to change my focus. I started to focus on chronic severe back pain. True enough, I was having people literally from across Canada and around the world coming to see me because of the way I positioned myself, the way I communicated to my consults, such that, again, I became the place to go to. And because of that, because I created that difference, because I was able to stand out, have that proper positioning, and again, was properly able to articulate my message so that it resonated with the 93% of the population that would otherwise not see a chiropractor, I was inundated with people. And if you heard my story before, like I was seeing around, just at my one clinic alone, and now I had 8, right? But in my one clinic alone, I was seeing about 100 consults a month, on average, like until the day I retired. And then because of the way I was able to close, now I had an 85% conversion ratio, which means that of the 100 people that came in, 85 turned into patients. And so I quickly built a waiting list practice, and then I expanded to 8 clinics within, 22 months, right? It was because I deviated and became different. I stood out, and I was able to properly articulate the value in such a way that I created, certainty, believability, and influence.
Yeah, it's very impressive to hear the story. It's also really cool to know that you bootstrapped your way so quickly to niching in and deciding what was best for you. Like we discussed before the interview, people just need to know what their avatar is, who their target audience is. And, you said that you are looking for people with certain types of back concerns, so when you know what you're looking for, then you can start attracting that type of patient and you can start changing people's lives.
Exactly. And you nailed it. Like, all too often, chiropractors, you've seen these ads before, right? Where chiropractors will say that they treat everything from headaches, whiplash, back pain, fibromyalgia, pregnant women, all that sort of stuff, right? Thinking that, if they do this blanket marketing, they'll drive a bunch of people into their office. And as you know, it never works, right? It never works. And the reason why that is because you're not attracted. In fact, what actually happens is the people that you're trying to attract, you actually repel. And the reason why that is because they start to interpret you as a jack of all trades chiropractor. Oh, he just treats everybody, or she treats everybody. But think about it. If you have severe, badass back pain that's destroying your life, where you can't work, you can't sleep, you can't function, you can't play with your kids, and so on and so forth, who are you going to see? Are you going to the chiropractor that just lists everything under the sun? Or are you going to go to the chiropractor that specializes or focuses on the treatment of chronic severe back pain? The guy or the girl, the chiropractor that's going to give you the highest probability of treatment success. Who's that going to be? It's not going to be the jack of all trades chiro. It's going to be the one that specializes.
Well,
right?
Rich, what you're saying there is you have to deliver the goods now.
Well, in what way? Do you have to provide an exceptional treatment program? 100%. But here's the other thing, right? So what happens is everybody that you list on your ad, again, back pain, neck pain, whiplash, headaches, carpal tunnel, all that sort of stuff, you're repelling because anybody who has chronic severe carpal tunnel, who's on the verge of surgery, that can't work, that can't write, that can't sleep, they have a splint, they're not going to go to that chiropractor. Instead, they're going to go to the chiropractor that focuses on carpal tunnel, right?
So do you have any favorite motivational quotes or mantras that help you with your daily commitments?
100%. Successful people will do what unsuccessful people are afraid to do. And I have another one, and I have this tattooed right across from shoulder to shoulder on my back. It says, decisions without fear. All too often, people are afraid to do things because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of what other people are going to say. But listen, if you take fear out of the equation, if you remove it out of your decision-making process, what would you do? Chances are you're going to do what you want to do because that fear is out. All too often, listen, we talked about this before the interview, I get a lot of people coming to me for my coaching. Why? Because I teach them I'm the chiropractic niche coach, right? I teach them how to stand out amongst the noise of other chiropractors. And the most common thing that I hear from these clients of mine, these doctors of mine, is that, oh, you know what? These doctors are telling me I should niche, that I'm selling out, that I'm deviating from the traditional chiropractic ways. And I said, listen, man, forget about that noise. You know what? Those doctors are not your avatar. They're not your patients. They're not the ones that's going to bring you money. You know, there's a lot of room for chiropractors that want the traditional ways. If you want to deviate, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, when you deviate, when you create a niche clinic, because you're seen as the authority, the go-to person, you actually end up seeing more people in your community than if you were a generalized chiropractic care practitioner. Not only that, but the patients that come in to see you, because they see you as the specialist, like the one that has a treatment protocol that's going to fix them of their ails, of what ails them, they're going to be more compliant, right? They're going to be easier to convert. And because they see you as a specialist, the one that's going to give them the highest probability of treatment success, they're naturally going to pay you a premium for your services. And so what happens is, you never have to worry about the chiropractor down the road that's charging $20 an adjustment, right? You never have to worry about the other chiropractors that are jumping into your community, maybe the new grads or doctors that are just opening up shop in your area, because your competition actually becomes a non-issue. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Oh, it's absolutely spot on. And I think that the more that we stay in our lane and we figure out what brings us business is probably the most important thing when we talk about successful chiropractors.
Exactly. And you nailed it again, Jim. Like, you have to understand your business, your clinic as a business. If you don't treat it like a business, and you'll have no patience. So you're simply a doctor by name and not by practice. So you obviously have to treat your patients as patients, but treat your business as a business, right? If you don't, there's this imbalance of collecting money. So you have a high AR, accounts receivable, your cost per acquisition is extremely high, and you have no patient base, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of it goes back to, these ideas of marketing and branding, some of these baseline things. But as people develop their own avatar, who they are, they have to know exactly what they can deliver at that position of being the doctor too. So I think understanding the business methods, and I always tell people this, what you've done a really good job is you have to become a media company as well as becoming a chiropractor.
100%. And listen, do you have to become a media company? Well, no, to tell you the truth. Why is that? Because you have dudes like you, Jim, and your partner, Lou, that do the marketing. They're the specialists. Like I was telling you, like one of my clients I was trying to send over to you, because no one can beat you. No one can beat you in regards to spinal screens. Like, you're the man of spinal screening. And you've proven that over and over again, right? For me, I believe in PPA, right? Which is what I call passive patient acquisition, which means that I don't believe in going out and doing all these different events. Why? Because I'm lazy. Do they work? 100% they work. But for me, I'm lazy. I would much rather put my marketing out there and have my patients come to me. The key thing, everybody talks about marketing, and like you, Jim, I know you're exceptional at what you do. You and your partner, are exceptional at what you do, and you can drive a ton of patients to people's offices. That goes without saying. The issue becomes, does the doctor know how to effectively communicate to their leads, to the people in front of them, so they can turn them into new patients? If you don't know how to effectively communicate, understand, like I always say, understand the psychological triggers that motivate your consults to undergo care, you're throwing your money out the door, right? Your cost per acquisition, your cost per patient, new patient, is through the roof. But once you're able to understand the triggers that motivate them to undergo care, once you're able to get them to sell themselves, get your patients to sell them, or your consults to sell themselves on your care, the rest is easy. Then you have a high conversion ratio. And so then you could build, like I did, right? Then you can start building up either a massive single clinic or multiple clinics like I did, or you know what? You kick back. You cut back your hours, you charge more, see less, and you're making a killing. You're making more and more a month. But it comes down to providing an exceptional treatment and also being able to effectively communicate. Not use scripts. Scripts are useless. But being able to articulate, again, your perceived value, being influential, having the believability so that these people undergo your services.
So what's possible in the future with everything you're doing and accomplishing?
The sky's the limits. The sky's the limits. Listen, like I said, unfortunately, chiropractors are struggling. I was talking to Dr. Dan Golden, and I believe the stat he said was 70% of all chiropractors, file for bankruptcy within 2 years. And it's kind of like the restaurant industry, right? Or just business in general. The fact is that we are, like I said at the top of the show, right? We have an exceptionally good treatment protocol that is healing people at levels that no other, practitioner can heal without medication. Like, we're able to achieve such amazing things. And yet we have such a small population that are actually seeing us. But if you know how to resonate, again, with that 93%, and that's why I teach my doctors, right? Being able to resonate with that 93% of the population, you will always have a successful practice. You'll be inundated with consults, leads, and new patients. And so what I tell everybody is, have your systems in place. Have your marketing in place. Understand how to effectively communicate to your consults. Not just you, but your front-end staff. I know I'm rambling on, but listen, I was talking to a client, actually not a client, who wants to be a client of mine. And I was saying, he says, I'm a great closer. It takes him like 2 hours to close someone for X number of dollars. But his front-end staff sucks. I said, listen, man, if your front-end staff doesn't know how to effectively close the lead so that when they book, they actually show up, and they're actually what I call pre-close, so they're already willing to undergo care. You just have to go through the formality of qualifying them for care. But if your front-end staff doesn't know how to turn that caller into a paid booking or just a booking that shows up, you will never grow your practice. You will never grow your practice. You're at the mercy of your front-end staff. So your front-end staff has to be on point with their communication and being able to resonate with that 93% that would otherwise choose not to see a chiro, right?
Yeah, the gatekeeper is definitely somebody that we have to make sure that they're well trained on, not only to do what we would like them to do for, the potential client or patient, but what they should do to, support the beautiful profession of chiropractic. And, that's one of the things I really appreciate about you is after 18 years of service, you're more fired up than ever to help support chiropractors and help them achieve success.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know what? Listen, because I've seen so many doctors struggling, and they don't need to be. They just have to understand how to resonate with the marketplace, the new patient marketplace, which has a different mindset. And once you're able to do that, man, the possibilities are limitless. You never have to suffer a day in your life.
Well, as I've discussed with a lot of people recently, is the digital era has changed the way people get information. And the old narratives that people believed in about what they needed to do for some type of symptom or condition that they're experiencing, they're doing their research and they are finding out there are resources out there, like you were saying earlier in our conversation, that they hedge away from drugs and surgery. And I think now more than ever, chiropractors, the narrative will change, and that's our next question. I'll let Luke go on that with you. But the narrative's going to change because we're going to find more successful chiropractors because people are going to start demanding chiropractic services.
Right. The key thing is this. Again, it all comes down to effective communication. Again, where a lot of chiropractors make a mistake is that they have this what I call school-based idealistic or ideological kind of perspective on the way in which the community should be seen or the community should see you, right? So they try to press upon the chiropractor's belief onto their potential patient, their lead, or whatever you want to call them, the consult. And that often falls on deaf ears. Why is that? Because it's different from their understanding of the healthcare system. And it's not their fault, it's just the way they're raised. Let's face it, medical doctors are basically, they're put on a pedestal, generally speaking, and people follow their paradigm. And so for them to switch to the chiropractic paradigm, for you to kind of shotgun approach and, kind of ram down their throat the chiropractic way, it will fall on deaf ears simply because it's not something that they're used to, right? And again, it's no fault of theirs. And you know what? What I always tell people to do is give them what they want, sell them on what they need, right? Give them what they want, sell them on what they need. For instance, if they're coming in on pain, oh, dude, I got back pain. Doc, can you help me? Yeah, we can. We can help relieve your back pain, right? Get them under care. Then you start to kind of tell them more about the chiropractic way. Then you start to drip feed them information. Because now, listen, I know right now, there are some chiropractors that are like, I don't know, they're furious with what I said. Oh yeah, we can treat pain. Because I know some chiropractors say, listen, we don't fix pain. We don't fix pain. I get it. I understand. But it doesn't matter the mechanism in which you deliver relief, in this case back pain, because the end result is all the same. So whether you're removing subluxation, removing nerve interference, so the body functions at its optimal level so the body's able to heal itself, which in turn removes your back pain, or you're adjusting the back to remove the send imbrication, to remove the pressure off the disc, remove the pressure off the joint and off the nerve, the end result is you're going to get rid of their back pain, or that's hopefully your end result. So their understanding of how the patient's understanding of how you get to that point, it doesn't matter. But if you start talking about, yeah, we don't fix your pain, what we're going to do is this, and this, remove your subluxation, it doesn't resonate with them. It resonates with 7% of the population, right, who are already willing to see a chiropractor, but for those 93% that it doesn't resonate with, they walk. But if you talk about the mechanics of the adjustment, removing that pressure, get the joints to articulate properly, so you remove the pain, that's what resonates with them. Again, give them what they want, sell them on what they need. So when they're undergoing care, they're experiencing the changes, they're understanding, wow, this is amazing stuff. You're not giving me drugs, you're not doing surgery, you're just adjusting my back and now I'm feeling great, I have no pain, I have more strength in my leg, I'm feeling great, I can jump out of bed in the mornings. Unreal, tell me more. So you start drip feeding. You don't do this antiquated TikTok stuff like every day, like ram chiropractic down the throat every single day because it falls on deaf ears. You drip feed them. When you drip feed them, they remember it. They retain the information. And when they're able to retain the information, then they can spread the word accurately to their friends and family members and other community members in their general vicinity, in their environment. And that way, when you have people coming in, they come in more educated. They're pre-closed. They're already waiting to start care. Right? I kind of went on a rant there, but you get what I'm talking about. But does that make sense to you?
Yeah, we love it, man. We love that you're so willing to share the idea behind, what people are looking for. And then, if you do curate the conversation pattern the right way, then people will eventually adhere to the recommendations. And then they'll be raving fans of yours because you've told them what it takes to be under care, and then you deliver the goods, and then you change their lives, and they stick with you. And I think that that's one of the biggest things about developing a protocol that is value-based rather than price-based.
Exactly. But listen, it all comes down to proper patient communication. You have to be able to articulate the perceived value, provide that certainty. Because listen, the only way, 100% of the time, the only way you can convert a consultant to new patient is basically two things. One is perceived value, the second is certainty. If you provide that to them, they'll always go under your care. And you'll always hear doctors like, Oh man, my biggest complaint, my biggest problem is the patient says they can't afford care. Let me tell you something. If your consults are telling you that they can't afford care, they can't afford care because the way in which you articulated your services, the value and certainty, is off. There's something that's causing them to say that to you as an excuse, because 70% of all buying decisions is not based on price. It's not based on price. What's an example? Listen, dude, if I can give you a Lamborghini, a brand new, what's an entry-level Lambo? $250K, right? If I can get you a brand new entry-level Lambo for 10 grand, brand new, I can bet you the homeless guy on the street is going to be able to raise 10 grand because he knows he can flip that and make 240 in profit. Right? It's perceived value. The doctors have to understand that. They have to understand that. Listen, you know, and I'm the chiropractic coach that people come to when they want to have the ability to have an extremely high conversion ratio and be able to charge higher justified fees. Listen, you know, like my doctors that are under my services, my coaching, are charging 10 grand, 14 grand, 8 grand for their treatment protocols. And it's not about, I want you to be fully understand, it's not about gouging people or being able to see how much you can charge. It's being able to charge justified fees for your service, what you think your treatments are worth. And so these guys that are charging $15,000 or 8 grand or whatever they're charging, do you think they ever worry about the chiropractor down the road? Do you think they worry about where the next new patient is coming from? Do you think they worry about not having a lineup of patients waiting to undergo their services? They don't. And I have proof after proof of these doctors sending me testimonials like how they're getting all these referrals. Understand, like if you want to charge 2 grand for your treatments, or you want to go as high as some of my doctors, it's up to you. There's no right or wrong. It's whatever you think your treatments are worth, right? It's about being able to effectively communicate. And here's the thing. When you can effectively communicate to the 93% of the population that would not see a chiropractor, guess what? That 7% that already will see a chiropractor will jump up to 10%, to 15%, to 20%, to 75%. More and more people will start to see a chiropractor because your message actually resonates with the population as a whole.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Close for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle.
So where do you see the profession headed in the next 20 years?
That's a fantastic question. I'm hoping that the profession moves into the greater majority. The greater majority being accepted by the population as a whole. Listen, again, I'm the chiropractic niche coach, right? A lot of doctors that I see, they want to steer away from the traditional chiropractic ways. And again, there's nothing wrong with the traditional chiropractic ways. But a lot of doctors, as they go into more niches, like not a lot, but some, they start getting into more treatment technology. PEMF, oxygen, laser, class 4s, and all that sort of stuff, right? And so what happens is it's making chiropractic more sophisticated. You're adding these ancillary therapies to speed up the recovery, right? Provide better results, more thorough results, and lasting results. And I'm not trying to dismiss traditional straight-up chiropractic adjustments. They're amazing. They're amazing. And they can also provide great results, obviously, and provide lasting results. But as technology starts to become the dominant force in every facet of our being, in every industry, people will look more favorably upon, potentially, on those that have other treatment technology. Now, do you have to have treatment technology in your office? 100% no. Do I have doctors that are charging a lot of money? Like I have doctors that are charging $1,500 for one treatment. and all they're doing is basically straight up chiropractic, hands-on, no instruments, hands-on work, right? So, there's two kind of avenues. One is more treatment technology that they incorporate into their office, right? Or traditional chiropractic. Really, it doesn't matter so long as you're able to communicate effectively.
Yeah, one of the things that you made me spring an idea on me was, you come in, the perceived chiropractic patient comes in with this need for getting adjusted, and then you give them this recommended thing like, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, along with you getting adjusted. And if you don't build that into the value like proposition, then people are like blindsided. It's kind of like when you go to like the auto store and you're like, yeah, I just want to get a new set of tires. And they're like, well, you need to do an oil change, you need to do wiper blades, you need to do this, you need to do this. And you're like, no, man, I just came in for this. And then you're hold off on the add-ons until it's absolutely a necessity. So if you come into the situation where you have the client coming in and you're saying, okay, so this is the protocol we follow, we're going to do X, Y, Z, and this is what it costs to go all in for this type of care with me, then there's no backing out of the recommendation. And I think that when you follow it with a strict, alliance with this is what you're going to get and how you're going to get it, whether it's technological based or not, people are going to then fall into your recommendation because it's already predetermined, pre-discussed, and they're already pre-qualified.
Yeah, exactly. You never want to spring something on someone and expect that, because that first of all that's immoral. You can't do that, right? You always have to be upfront in what you do, right? And you know what? Injuries or whatever, they're not simplistic entities, right? There's a lot of causes that relate to the person's condition. And so, we have a multifaceted approach that affects this and this, right? Here's the other thing. A lot of doctors have these massive treatment plans. I've heard doctors try a year-long treatment plan, which is insane, but whatever. They have year-long treatment plans or several months treatment plans, and they charge, say, $3,000, say, whatever, low end $3,000, right? And what they do is they try to justify their fees for all these ancillary treatments or all these treatments in general. Oh, you get this many chiropractic adjustments, you're coming in 3 times a week for 4 weeks, and so on and so forth. Man, you're getting a lot of value for what you're getting. Yeah, it's going to take you 6 months, but you know what? In the end, you're going to be great. What happens is when you do have that model, that antiquated model, you're actually trading time for dollars. From a business standpoint, you're trading time for dollars. So it's very difficult to have a scalable practice or one that's exceptionally profitable, right? There's always exceptions to the rule, right? But listen, I won't get into my money, but what happens is, what you have to understand is people will much rather pay a premium if you can get them better faster. Right? If you can get someone better within 2 months or 2 weeks, they will much rather pay you, say, $8,000 as opposed to $8,000 where you get them better within 8 months or 6 months. You follow what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay. That's why people, by having different kind of therapies or maybe more thorough or whatever different protocols that can accelerate the healing process, people will much rather pay a premium for that. So this way you're not trading necessarily time for dollars. You know, now, having said that, obviously patient results have to be number one, right? It has to always be patient-centered. You can't just say, listen, dude, I'm going to get you better in 2 weeks, and you don't provide any results. You have to be able to provide exceptional results to your patients because obviously you're a chiropractor and that's what your job is, right? But the other thing is, if you're not providing great results, sustained results for your patients, your business model will shut down within months because rumor or reviews about you will fly around like wildfire, and your reputation will be shot, and there's reputation management, so on and so forth, right? So you have to have a high-quality treatment protocol that delivers the results that you're telling your patients, your consults.
So tell us some of your favorite marketing strategies and how do you How do you spread your message and your products to everyone?
My favorite marketing strategies, you know, I am a big fan. Like, listen, you know, social media is exceptional, obviously. You know, the way you can, you know, get down to your avatar, laser focus, and all that sort of stuff. You know, social media goes without saying. You know, I'm a real big fan of TV. Now, I know that conventional media is on the downturn, right? You know, radio's holding its own for the most part, but they're all kind of heading down. But here's the thing. When creating authority positioning, there's no better platform than TV. Once you get yourself on TV, get an interview, get profile or whatever, you're automatically, instantly seen as an authority. You know? And I'll tell you, like, you know, when I did a radio interview, and it was only like literally 3 minutes long. Now again, I know how to articulate my value and all that sort of stuff. So I had a 3-minute interview when I first launched my radio campaign. In that 3-minute interview, my phones were inundated. I had a waiting list of 1 month, even before I had the treatment technology in my office. Right, I had everything set up. So getting some kind of radio interview, a live buy, is great, because then what you do is you take that MP4, you take that MP3, and you use it in part of your marketing. Throw it on social media, throw it into Facebook marketing and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I love it, man. I think, you know, honestly, we're hitting that peak of saturation in a certain sense for social media marketing, and I do think that people will go back more strongly into direct mailers, and I think that they'll go back to the streets and do what I specialize in, is direct sales for chiropractic services. And to touch on that, you know, I think one of the reasons that I became super successful in doing chiropractic sales is because I knew that by selling somebody into a chiropractic office, I was providing them the best opportunity for their life being changed under chiropractic care.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like I said, there's no better, listen, one-to-one contact, face-to-face communication is one of the best things. And you know what, like I said, I used to do spinal screenings, I used to do lectures and talks and all that sort of stuff, and I obviously converted a good number of people to come into my office. But for me, I just didn't like doing it, like the setup and all that sort of stuff. And one of the turning points was, you know, I did a spinal screen at this mall, and it was a high-end mall, and I had a crowd, like a freaking crowd of people around me. So much so that I forgot about this, so much so that the mall security had to shut me down because I was blocking the laneway. But then here's the deal, right? Like, it's a Saturday. Then I see my buddies walking around enjoying with a friend or with a kid, right? Walking around and enjoying their Saturday. It's like, wait a second. This sucks, man. I'm out here doing this, and I should be enjoying it with my family. And that's why I said, screw this noise. You know what? I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to develop a system, like a PPA, passive patient acquisition, where I can kick back, have people coming to me, and all I'm doing is closing them left and right. That's it.
Well, let's turn the page back one more time to talking about media and social media specifically. And what is your favorite app or technology to keep you engaged with your audience?
You know what? I use Facebook. You know what? Like, I deal with a lot of chiropractors. I'm a coach, right? So I deal with a lot of chiropractors on Facebook. But can I give you a really cool thing on how to create a viral video for marketing?
Sure.
I think it'll help your docs. Listen, I've created, maybe I've even showed you, I can't remember, but I've actually created viral videos that anybody can replicate. And it's drawn in, my God, hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue, and really we only spent, I don't know, initially like $300 on the ads a month, and it generated insane amounts. It's what I call a sequence testimonial. Okay, a sequence testimonial. Write these stages out because it's super simple. Okay, what you're doing is sequence testimonials. Listen, how do typical chiropractors do a testimonial, right? They have a camera bam, face on to this patient that finishes care. I said, tell them what your experience is like here at the office. You know, someone, and they just start rambling on, almost in a monotone voice, and really not that much excitement. Or maybe there's a bit of excitement, but whatever, right? Really not powerful, really not hitting those psychological triggers that motivate people to undergo your services, right? Especially those people that are watching the video on, say, social media ad, right? Facebook. This is a better way. You have a release form. And if anybody needs a release form, I can give you the release form that I use. So you have a release form. Say that you're going to videotape the whole examination. Why do you do that? Well, you do it for promotional reasons, and also because you're very, thorough with your examination, and you track everything. Patient comes in, sits in front of your desk, you have the camera rolling. You're getting them to explain their condition, what they've done in the past, their failures, how they've tried all these different therapies and nothing's worked. They're crying, they're upset. What you're essentially capturing is the raw emotions of what they're going through. How is that powerful? Because the guy watching that video, that raw emotion on Facebook, is identifying with that. Dude, shit, man, I've been through the same, man, my back is killing me as well. I have those limitations as well. And then you do an exam finding. Whatever's dramatic on video. So you do an exam test. So say maybe the first test is like, the guy has back pain, you're bending over. The person can't bend over, like, oh my God, I can't bend over, I'm in so much pain. Boom, you film that. Then you film them like maybe after their first treatment, where they're feeling great, and they're bending more forward, and they're like, holy snap, doctor, I'm feeling great, I can't believe it. Getting that raw emotion. And then maybe at the end of care, they're singing your praises. They're walking up and down your hallway, they're bending over, dancing, and all that sort of stuff. So what you're doing now is you're creating a sequence testimonial. From the moment they walked in, when they have that raw emotion, to where they have a test like, bam, my back sucks, I can't move, I'm in a lot of pain, they're wincing and stuff like that, to the moment they're like having great mobility now. And then they're giving you a true testimony, like, you saw how I was, I feel great, I can do this, this, and this. So we did that. So I added emotional music to it, right? And then again, how we teach doctors about how to, to trigger conversions, how to effectively communicate to your consults so they undergo care, the triggers that motivate them to undergo care, you throw that in your copy, right, of the ad. You put it to music, you throw the proper copy, again, that resonates with your avatar, boom, that thing spreads like wildfire. The first ad I did in that way had over 1 million views.
Wow.
Way over 1 million views now. It had, oh my God, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shares. Comments, thousands. I can't even tell you how many comments it has. It's endless.
That's more like a gold bar there, Rich.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. You do something simple like that, you're laughing. And yeah. And again, really, you have to have the right copy. You have to have the right copy for it to work effectively, obviously. But, those are the kind of the key elements, Again, it's called what I call a sequence testimonial. You slap it together, you package it, throw it on Facebook, and it starts working for you. So that's my gold nugget in terms of Facebook marketing right there, in a nutshell.
No, it's great. And I think that the more people that do understand that copywriting is an integral part of production, they'll appreciate what you just said there. I think that as I've gotten more involved with marketing and, my background's in journalism and marketing from college. And as I've been around the block as long as I have, I've realized that the more that I go back and read Gary Halbert, the more I go back and read, what's the guy's name? Ultimate Sales Letter. I just started finishing that book again.
I'm talking about Dan Kennedy.
Dan Kennedy, yep. So,
yeah, he's good.
As people start going into realizing that video is the future, but it goes to a dead audience if it doesn't have good writing behind it.
Exactly. Hey, listen, you know what? If it's okay with you, listen, I know people are probably wondering, how the hell does Richard teach how to communicate effectively and stuff like that?
Sure.
If you want, I have a free online course. Jump on it. It's 100% free, obviously. It's a four-part video series. It's called triggerconversions.com. triggerconversions.com. Check it out. And when you jump on that video course, that online course, you're going to realize how effective what I teach is and how it really easily resonates with people and why you're able to get such a high conversion. And I'll tell you, when you jump on that course, literally the next day, you're going to be able to implement what you see in the very first video and start increasing your conversions, right? And you're going to find that when you go through the course, right? But again, copywriting, understanding those triggers that motivate people to buy is huge. It's huge. Otherwise, man, you can have the best images, and if you don't have the proper message, it's not going to move, right? It's not going to sell.
So what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not working? What kind of podcasts do you listen to or books do you read?
That's a great question. Podcast. What I listen to is Entrepreneurs on Fire, which I love that guy. I just bought a business book. What the hell? I have it in my office. I love reading. All I read is business books. And I'll tell you, you know what? Here's a book. It's a classic book. I can't remember who wrote it. I think it's like Beckworth or something like that. I'll give you two books. One is the book that I got the quote that I tattooed on my back. It's a quick read. I bought it for my kids as well. It's called Who Moved My Cheese.
I love it.
Perfect book, right? How awesome is that book? Decisions Without Fear. That's where it comes from, right? And the other book is Selling the Invisible. Selling the Invisible. Because we have a service-based industry, okay, we are a service-based industry, it's invisible, right? And that's what this book's about, selling the invisible, selling the invisible service, right? It's something that you should read. Again, it's an old book, it's a classic. I don't even know how old it is, maybe like 20-odd years ago, maybe a bit more. But it's a brilliant book, and you should check it out.
Love it.
In my spare time, you know what? I just like hanging out with my kids. Playing with my cat and playing with my kids, man. That's what I do. I lead a pretty boring life, to be quite frank. All I do is I research, I refine what I know, and the exciting part obviously is that I have a great family, so I chill out with them a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the part of the show where you tell our listeners all your websites and social media links where they can find out more about you and your products.
Oh, sure, thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, so listen, if you want to learn more about me and my coaching and all that, go to chiropracticnichecoach.com. That's chiropracticnichecoach.com. Again, like I mentioned earlier, if you want to take a free online course that I teach you how to effectively communicate to your consults for an effortless conversion, go to triggerconversions.com.
Yeah, and with that being said, I just want to thank you so much for being our guest today on the Chiro Hustle podcast, and thank you for appreciating what we do from a distance, and it's really nice to have you share your abilities to help more people with the chiropractic work that you do.
Thanks, I appreciate it, man. And I gotta say something about you, man. I've seen your videos, and I've already sang your praises during the podcast and stuff. But listen, man. If any of you listeners out there, the chiros that are listening, and you want to have spinal screens, and you want to learn how to be an effective doc that does spinal screenings on point, either hire you or learn from you. What you do is brilliant, and again, if you're one that loves spinal screenings, it'll take your clinic to the next level for sure. So thank you so much for what you guys do as well.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you giving me that confidence to the audience too. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today before we close out?
You know what? No, I think it's pretty good. I think I don't know. I think I'm pretty good on that aspect. You're pretty great with the questions, that's for certain.
Cool.
All right,
so,
Richard.
Listen, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for being on the show today. I kind of thought it was crazy that someone else agreed to do a podcast with us on Thanksgiving, but it makes sense. You already celebrated.
Yeah, I thought for some reason, I thought your Thanksgiving was actually tomorrow.
No, it's right now. So maybe.
What do you guys? So shouldn't you be with family right now? What's going on?
We're about to walk out the door to go to a Thanksgiving party.
Oh, perfect. Well, there you go. Well, listen, have a great time. Don't drink and drive. Just drink a lot and sleep it over.
All right, thanks, Richard, and we want you to have a good day, all right?
Hey, you too, guys. Thank you so much again, eh?
All right, we'll catch you on the next one.
You bet, buddy.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.